The State Records Committee meeting for August 7, 2024. It is 10 a.m. Call this meeting to order. My name is Al Rose. I am the representative for the State Auditor's Office, and I am the chair. Also present is Suzanne Becker, who is the vice chair and the Attorney General's representative. Gwen Stamey is here as well, who is a representative from the Office of Financial Management. And Hirataka, the state archivist, who is our secretary. I'm going to turn it over for everyone else to introduce themselves. For the record, this is a recorded meeting.
I am Russell Wood, the State Records Manager at Washington State Archives.
I am Rachel. Oh, sorry, go
ahead.
ahead, Han. Okay. My name is Rachel Wilson. I am a senior records consultant with the Washington State Archives at the Olympia branch.
And I am Hannah Colasar. I am a senior records consultant with the State Archives at the Bellevue College Puget Sound branch.
I'm Sean Reichard. I'm a senior records consultant with the Washington State Archives Northwest branch in Bellingham, Washington.
I'm Bonnie Hood. I'm a records consultant and grant coordinator with the Washington State Archives, and I'm at the Olympia branch.
Barbara Benson, University of Washington. Good morning.
Good morning.
Rachel Bensi D'Souza, UW Medicine Records Officer.
Hi, I'm Emily Lemieux, also at University of Washington.
Sean Denson, retention schedule consultant with University of Washington Medicine.
Erin Puente, Washington Department of Transportation Record Specialist.
Annie Gill, Department of Transportation Records Manager.
Amy Hall, Division of Child Support.
Is there anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Samina Mays. I am the Public Records Manager for the Liquor and Cannabis Board.
Good morning, Carrie Ann Gallagher from Clark College in Vancouver, Public Records Officer and Records Management Coordinator.
I'm afraid to cut anybody off. I'm sorry. Paula Howell, Department of Commerce, Agency Records Officer.
Brenda Mendez, Washington State Treasurer's Office, and I am the Records Management Officer here.
Vicki Baudet, Warrants and Banking Services Administrator for the State Treasurer's Office.
Jamie Ginsel, Agency Records Officer for the Department of Ecology.
Jack McClellan, Department of Financial Institutions, Regulatory Projects Coordinator.
And just for the record, there's a couple people, and I apologize if you also introduced yourself, but there's a couple people who are in the chat. One is Tony Kurtz from Western Washington University, and then Julia Pintello, PDC and RIM Shorelines and Environment Assistant from the Department of Ecology. All right, that concludes call to order then, and the introduction of committee and staff. With the next item on the routine items is approval of the June 5th, 2024 minutes. Has the committee had an opportunity to review the minutes as presented? Are there any questions? Hearing that there are no questions, then I would entertain a motion to approve the June 5th, 2024 minutes as presented.
I'll move.
Is there a second?
I can second.
Thank you. Thank you for the motion to approve and the second. Any requests for discussion? Hearing no request for discussion, then call the question. All those in favor of approving the June 5th, 2024 minutes as presented signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing no nays and 4 ayes, the motion to approve the June 5th, 2024 minutes as presented passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is adoption of today's agenda. Has the committee had an opportunity to review today's agenda?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, then I would entertain a motion to adopt today's agenda as presented.
I'll move.
Is there a second?
I can second.
Thank you. There's been a motion to approve today's agenda as presented in a second. Any requests for discussion? Hearing no requests for discussion, then all those in favor of approving adoption of today's agenda as presented signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays? Okay, hearing no nays and 4 ayes, we adopted today's agenda unanimously. Next item on the agenda, Roman numeral 2, is Washington State Archives update, and the first announcement is from the state archivist.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. There's so many people. It's multiple screens on my screen, so I love that. I love seeing all the different people show up. We are continuing to move forward with our decision packages for next legislative session, which I'm sure many of you are also in the process of doing. We are working on a decision package to request a backfill for our Fund 441, which is still struggling, which comes from the document recording fees, and we're just not seeing that rebound of the housing market or refinances happening. So we continue to move forward and do our best to be good stewards of that fund. But we will be requesting another backfill as well as exploring some new revenue sources so that it is not solely on the document recording fee backs there. So we're working on that. We are also working on a capital request for some failing HVAC systems in our branch locations, which happens when you have elderly buildings. So that's what we'll call them, elderly buildings. So that leads me into the new building, which I'm sure all of you are wondering why we're not talking about the new building. We're still waiting for the U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife to give us some answers on the pocket gophers. So we are still sitting and waiting, and I think we are at about 2 years of waiting for them to get back to us. So here we are again waiting on that. We are also preparing a decision package to digitize some of our precious material and collections that we have here that focus on America 250, the celebration coming up in 2026. So looking at some of the collections that we have that help tell the story of Washington and help support the efforts of America 250. I attended the Nagara conference last month where I got to meet a couple of people on this call. Big thank you to Paula Howell, who when I met her came up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, I know you." And I was like, "Oh no, how do I know Paula?" And it was from these very meetings that she knew me from. So really appreciate that and just the warmness that you all extend to me when we meet. So that is my report, and I will pass it over to Russell for his report.
Okay, well, thank you. And first up, I would like to extend a big thank you to our former senior records consultant, Jamie Gansel, who left us at the end of last month, which was only last week, and is now the freshly minted records officer for the Department of Ecology. So we are glad she's back on this call, at least. As the representative for the agency for one of the schedules that she reviewed. So we wish her well in driving Department of Ecology's records management forward. The other big news, of course, that hopefully everybody is aware that we have a consultation draft for both the state government general records retention schedule and a consultation draft on the local government common records retention schedule. We're doing both at once because one of the big themes in these updates is trying to get greater alignment between the two schedules, particularly for things that affect state and local government equally, because there's a lot that everybody does and everybody's subject to the same federal and state regulations, so there's no reason to have any difference in the retention. So we've been doing quite a lot of work to bring that together. Both are out for comment until August 16, so there is still time to comment, and the plan is to move that on the agenda for the October meeting. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you for those updates. The next item, Roman numeral 3 on the agenda, is new business. First item under new business is updates to agency schedules, and the first one is Department of Ecology Records Retention Schedule versus 1.6. Ms. Ganzel, you here for Department of Ecology? Is anybody here anything you'd like to say, Department of Ecology representatives from the department?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you and congratulations to actually the other ecology folks who were on the call. They worked so hard and had to have tons and tons of patience with me. This update took a long while for a few reasons. So just Julia and Yolanda and Kate, great job and congratulations. We're at the end.
All right. Well, thank you. And the committee's had an opportunity to review the proposed updates. Is there any questions? Hearing no questions, then I would entertain a motion to approve the Department of Ecology Records Retention Schedule version 1.6 as presented.
I'll move. And I can second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the Department of Ecology Records Retention Schedule version 1.6. Is there any requests for discussion? Hearing no request for discussion, then I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the Department of Ecology Records Retention Schedule version 1.6 is presented signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing no nays and 4 ayes, the motion to approve passes unanimously. Thank you very much for being here, and thanks for all the work from the Department of Ecology. The next item on the agenda is the Department of Transportation Records Retention Schedule version 1.23. And there's some representatives from the Department of Transportation. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Only to thank you for your time and the staff's time at the Secretary of State for vetting this new schedule, and Erin Puente, who is on the call. She is integral to the advancement of the Department of Transportation schedule. And I mean, she's working hard. We're down 19 on this one, and she's already in process for the next one. So I appreciate all of this by everybody. The agency's looking great in our records department.
Well, thank you very much, and we appreciate all the work from the department as well. As the committee had an opportunity to review the post updates, is there any questions? Hearing no questions, then I'd entertain a motion to approve the Department of Transportation Records Retention Schedule version 1.23 as presented.
I'll move.
Is there a second?
And I can second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the Department of Transportation Records Retention Schedule version 1.23 as presented. Is there any requests for discussion? Hearing no requests for discussion, then I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the Department of Transportation Records Retention Schedule version 1.23 as presented signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays? Hearing no nays and 4 ayes, the motion to approve the schedule of Department of Transportation 1.23 passes unanimously. Thank you very much, and thank you for all your work and being here today. The next item under updates is Liquor and Cannabis Board Records Retention Schedule version 1.0. There are representatives from the Liquor and Cannabis Board. Would you like to say anything?
Yes, hello, thank you. Just a big thank you to Rachel Wilson from the Secretary of State's office for all her help with this revision. This was a major effort. We could not have done it without her help. Our retention schedule has not been updated since 2011, so we're excited for this. And a big thank you to our agency for their efforts in this as well. We are very excited. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for all your work. Yeah, a lot has changed since 2011. And the committee's had an opportunity to review the proposed updates. If there is any questions? Hearing no questions, then I would entertain a motion to approve the Liquor and Cannabis Board Records Retention Schedule version 1.0 as presented. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
I can second.
Thank you. It's been a motion and a second to approve the Liquor and Cannabis Board Records Retention Schedule version 1.0 as presented. Is there any request for discussion? Hearing no request for discussion, then I call the question. All those in favor of approving the Liquor and Cannabis Board Records Retention Schedule version 1.0 as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing no nays and 4 ayes, the motion to approve the records retention schedule for the Liquor and Cannabis Board passes unanimously. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. The next item on the agenda is the Office of State Treasurer Records Retention Schedule version 1.8, and there are representatives from the department, from the Office of the State Treasurer. Here, would you like to say something?
Yes, I just want to say thank you to Jamie. I think we worked with Jamie right before she transferred over. And Russell, thank you so much for helping us update our retention schedule.
All right, thank you. And the committee has had an opportunity to review the updates. Are there any questions? Hearing that there are no questions, then I would entertain a motion to approve the Office of State Treasurer Records Retention Schedule version 1.8 as presented.
I'll move.
And seconded.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the Office of State Treasurer Records Retention Schedule version 1.8. Is there any request for discussion? Hearing no request for discussion, then call the question. All those who in favor of approving the Office of State Treasurer Records Retention Schedule version 1.8 as presented signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Is there any nays? Hearing no nays and 4 ayes, the motion to approve the schedule passes unanimously. Thank you very much for being here and thank you for all your work. The last item under updates to agency schedules is the UW Medicine Records Retention Schedule version 2.1. And there are representatives from UW here that are University of Washington that are here today. Would anybody like to say anything?
Yes, this is Rachel Bency D'Souza. Thanks to my team, Sean Denson in particular, who put a lot of work into this revision. We're excited to have you all review it and approve it.
Thank you very much for being here today. As the committee had an opportunity to review the updates, are there any questions? Seeing that there are no questions, hearing there are no questions, then I would entertain a motion to approve the UW Medicine Records Retention Schedule version 2.1 as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. There's been a motion and a second to approve the UW Medicine Records Retention Schedule version 2.1 as presented. Is there any request for discussion? Hearing no request for discussion, then I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the UW Medicine Records Retention Schedule version 2.1 as presented signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing no nays and 4 ayes, the motion to approve passes unanimously. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for all your work in updating the schedule.
Thank you.
Yes. The next item, number 4, is other business. I know, Mr. Wood, it lists none, but I wanted to, I'm sure you're already aware of this. I wanted to let the other members of the committee know that there was a lawsuit filed at the end of May by a man named Jamie Nixon having to do with Teams chat and the 7-day automatic erasure. It's an interesting lawsuit in the sense that it names the state of Washington and then lists some agencies. And then it goes on a long list of things. There's a lot of emails from different agencies. But one of the things it's asking the court is the complaint seems to blame the State Records Committee because we're allowing destruction of records because people may have put stuff that is in Teams chat that is needs to be preserved in some way or maybe temporary and transitory, right? In my mind, I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding about how records management works and the record schedules. But I just wanted to make the committee and state archives aware of at least with our discussions with our Attorney General. I mean, well, reading the complaint, it clearly calls out the State Records Committee and is asking this the judge to declare certain things that we've done or not done. So I'm sure that, and I believe the committee's attorney is Mr. Kernut, and you may have already discussed, but I just kind of wanted to make everybody aware that that lawsuit is out there. So I don't think we're named in the caption, but at the end towards the lawsuit, they're asking the court for certain things that to require the State Records Committee to do. So. That's all I had. I didn't know if anybody was aware of it. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there if you see that in the paper. So.
Thanks, Al. Suzanne, did you have something to say about it?
No, I was just gonna chime in too. Thank you, Al, for the update. And then, of course, if any of the committee members have questions, they can reach out to our AAG on that matter to discuss specifics.
Yeah. So it's something that really hasn't been in the papers yet, but and I know the practitioner would deal with her in Pierce County when I was up there, and like I said, some of the things I said about it specifically to State Records Committee in regard to Teams chat. So that's it. Next item on the agenda is number 5, next meeting, October 2nd, 2024. That would be at 10 a.m. And the item after that is number 6 was adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Al, before we adjourn, can I just make a quick
Please, yes.
announcement, which is that I think this is going to be my last meeting of the Records Committee because I've accepted another position at OFM and we have filled my position. Marie Davis is the new OFM budget advisor for the Secretary of State. So she'll be filling this role. And I'm just here today because we haven't made the appointment yet. So so I'm hoping Russell and Heather, maybe we can schedule a meeting where she could get kind of a little primer on what it is the committee does. I got a great one when I started that was really helpful to me. And I'll reach out to schedule that, but
Yes,
just
we
so
can
she knows what's
certainly do
going
that.
on when she joins.
Well, thank you for that and congratulations as well. So,
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
and that leaves the last item on our agenda, which is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I can move.
Is there a second?
And I can second. And Gwen, it's been a pleasure serving on the committee with you. All right.
Thank you. Same to you. Thanks. And whenever Marie's out of town, I'm sure I'll fill in for her. So maybe I'll see you again. Thanks.
Thank you. All those in favor of adjourning today's meeting of the State Records Committee signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Hearing no nays and 4 ayes, the motion to adjourn passes unanimously. This concludes the August 7th, 2024 meeting of the State Records Committee, concluding at 10:24. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.